another edition of International Desk, coming to you live from our studios in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital. Today we are focusing on the UK protest. You will agree with me that the second quarter of 2024 has been greeted by protests in different countries to kick against deep societal and political issues from Kenya to Nigeria, Bangladesh, Venezuela, and the United Kingdom is not left out. Far-right anti-immigrant riots erupted across multi-towns and cities in Britain last week, the worst bout of societal unrest in about 13 years. Protesters attacked hotels, sheltering asylum seekers and mosques, and clashing with police officers. To analyze the causes and government reaction is our public affairs analyst, Honorable MAYAMI. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Special morning greetings to our viewers across the globe.
Yes, and let's begin with what triggered the protest in the United Kingdom.
Yes, for a start, I would love to lay a foundation, for the benefit of our viewers at home and them. Looking at it holistically, protests has always been, motivated by a just cause. And looking at that, I would say there are, two phases to protest. The first one, which is what I term pure protest, which can also be known as good protest, intentions that are tailored to having a better society for the welfare and the well-being of the people. And the second phase, which I called, non-pure protest, which is also known as, bad protest, has always been, motivated by a sponsor, as laid down by the agitations of some set of people in a given society. Away from that, I would say, generally that the causes, or probably I say the cause of these, riots, also called protests going on in Britain, has been led to, I think, a misleading information as regards the anti-immigrant, claim. So prior to this incident, the present Prime Minister of the society of the UK, Keir Starmer, I could recall in 2011 when he was then the director of the Britain public prosecution. Then there was a, I think that was when Britain recorded a massive, riot then. So what led to that was because there was this attack on, on an immigrant, and which actually was spurred by the sporadic shooting of the police, and so that was what actually led to the anger of the, especially the immigrants, which actually caused, chaos and actually led to what government had to, swiftly, curbed before it escalated beyond control. So then, Keir Starmer, through the courts ordered, the British, government to really, nab and prosecute the offenders, then and, 13 years after, the people have not forgotten. So they believed, ever since the accession of Keir Starmer as, the new, set man for the government of the Britain. So I could say, to my own considered opinion, that led to what had transpired between the people and the protests.
Okay, you're trying to say it has political undertone?
It has, definitely. The motives, the intentions were driven by the last experience they had 13 years ago. That is, to my own considered opinion. And, if according to the news that I, that I've been privileged to, to read through, I discovered that their intention was to cause. It was initially to, attack the law enforcement, agencies, and I couldn't imagine if you say you are protesting, and as so it were, and you are attacking, public buildings, facilities, and making arrests, to be experienced in in communities, as it's been recorded in Rhode Island, which I think the northern, England, also coming to where we have the central England, and where series of attacks has been carried out. Well, to my considered opinion, I would say it has a correlation. What happened in 2011 and what is happening presently.
Okay, but during the riot, it has been called for. It has been anti-immigration. It is a protest against immigrants, beg your pardon, and a protest against, let's say, a religious one too, because on social media, there was a lie peddled that the person that actually stabbed the 4 girls was a Muslim. But unfortunately, at the end of the day, the boy that did it is from Rwanda. So now that you're saying it has political undertone and all that, let's take a look at the immigration policies now. If they are saying no to immigrants, don't they contribute immensely to the economy of that country?
Yes, according to the international law, there's freedom, of migration, where you can leave your native land to make a journey to a foreign land, probably in the intent of making a business transaction or going on a tourism purpose. This is what is laid down according to the international law. I beg our viewers that I might not be able to quote the exact chapter or section of the international law, but it's what has been displayed in the last couple of days. If I assert that submission that it has a political undertone, it is because some sets of the people are agitating for, okay, fine, we are immigrants, probably seeking for a permanent stay. This is what is common in all nations of the world. This is what is, enhancing integration. But if, to some extent, our rights have been infringed on, I always say there will always be a motive behind any happening. So to my own considered opinion, if peradventure this is not linked to the new PM, Prime Minister, as it were, as regards the order he gave, to what happened 13 years ago. But aside from that, there has been this, immigration policy that says the right of citizens across nations of the world to move freely with or without the hindrance of the immigration officer of a certain nation. So it is there. That is why I can decide today that I want to leave the shores of the 4 walls of of my country, Nigeria, to travel to the United States or France, be it as it may. So it is my right, being a living Homo sapiens, a living human being who is a citizen of a nation. So according to that foundation, I would lay my claim to be, to what I would say, fine. If the immigration policy, it's not negating the fact that the right of the immigrant should be, should be expressed with or without the interference of, of the government, policies. So I would say holistically, that looking at it from that perspective, it is what it is, that the intention of the protesters is to mar the government of the new administrator in charge. That is the way I see it. Be it pure intention or non-pure intention, I think the government of the Britain should revisit whatever policy should be causing this exact happening. It has been a recurrent happening for a couple of years. So in my own candid opinion, I would say that the British government should call, as it was advised by one of the parliamentarians, that, oh fine, I think the PM needs to call a parliament gathering where this issue can permanently be resolved to prevent future occurrence.
Yes, I talked about the economic impact of this now. Immigrants, no doubt, they contribute to the economic growth of whatever country they go to. But this is not just about the UK. It is not just the UK that is chanting this anti-immigration songs now. If you go to the US, it happened during the time of Trump, former President Donald Trump. Though now that is campaigning, it's toning down a little bit. Can you say, is it because the fight against migrants now, can it be because even the owners, the real owners of those countries are faced with unemployment, and they are the ones taking it? Has it got anything to do with unemployment?
Yes, the economic impact of this, anti-immigrant issue can actually, be felt by the economy of that given nation. I would say holistically that the native indigenous of the nation only, as it were, could drive the economy of that nation. But it has been evident over the years that the immigrants has contributed immensely to the productivity of any given state in the world. When I say state, I mean nations, to any given nation in the world. So even the US, I would say to some extent, there was a research carried on a couple of months ago, if I'm not mistaken, to talk about the impact of the immigrants in the economy. And I got astonished when I heard that about, almost average percentage was, contributed by immigrants, even to the US soil. So you cannot shy away from that, possibility that you cannot, accommodate immigrants to drive your economy. Go to China. Today, as I speak to you, the China economy has the bulk of its, I would say, positive economic drive from Africa. If I'm not mistaken, I think behind US, Nigeria, as it were, is the second largest consumers of whatever China produces in their nation. And if you trace it to their productivity, you will see blacks, you will see foreigners. For their manpower, you see them. Why, the native, people of a given nation would fight back to say, okay, fine, we have been unemployed. As the case may be, the foreigners are taking our rights. That has been exemplified even in Africa, in South Africa. This xenophobic attack we had, recently, on our people, on Nigerians. It was claimed by the, South Africans. Hey, you guys are taking our jobs. So it took the intervention of the Nigerian government through the, foreign minister, and of Nigeria then, and the chairman of the Nigerians in diaspora to really, came into the scene and salvage the situation. It has been evident also in some part of the world. What we are saying holistically is when there is unemployment generally in the nation and is not being addressed by the government of that nation, the people, the indigenous, the native people of that land can, attribute it to anything. And one of the claims has been that, these immigrants, these foreigners are taking our jobs. And that could, lead to anything. But on this particularly, bone of contention is, do or would this have an economic, impact, in Britain? Yes, it would. Because when you say, oh, fine, there's going to be a review of anti-immigrant policies, and if the aftermath of that parliamentary gathering, it was resolved, or the resolution is, hey, you know what, we have to decrease the numbers of immigrants that would, gain entrance into our nation, to our soil, or we have to, find a way of, segregating some of the immigrants in obtaining or getting a job in our soil, as it were, so to give room for native people. Whatever it is, as I will say, or I will recommend my own, possible way out to this menace that is confronting Britain, I would say, why not? This man, the man in charge by the new administrator, Keir Starmer, come up to address the people. Let them know.
He actually addressed the people. But before we continue, we'll take a short break. So when we come back, we'll talk about the government's response and the impact, the effect of social media on protests. So a short break, we'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. You're still watching International Desk, and right now, let's quickly go for the video. Let's say the video that shows us the Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer's reaction to the protest.
Those that have participated in this violence will face the full force of the law. The police will be making arrests, individuals will be held on remand, charges will follow, and convictions will follow. I guarantee you will regret taking part in this disorder, whether directly or those whipping up this action online and then running away themselves. This is not protest. It is organised, violent thuggery, and it has no place on our streets or online. Right now, there are attacks happening on a hotel in Rotherham, marauding gangs intent on law-breaking, or worse, windows smashed, fire set ablaze, residents and staff in absolute fear. There is no justification, none, for taking this action, and all right-minded people should be condemning this sort of violence. People in this country have a right to be safe, and yet we've seen Muslim communities targeted, attacks on mosques, other minority communities singled out, Nazi salutes in the street, attacks on the police, wanton violence alongside racist rhetoric. So no, I won't shy away from calling it what it is: far-right thuggery. To those who feel targeted because of the colour of your skin or your faith, I know how frightening this must be. I want you to know that this violent mob do not represent our country, and we will bring them to justice. Our police deserve our support as they tackle any and all violent disorder that flares up. Whatever the apparent cause or motivation, we make no distinction. Crime is crime, and this government will tackle it. Thank you.
Okay, welcome back. You're still watching International Desk, and we just listened to the UK Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer. It says, crime is crime. The protest is not a reflection of what the UK is. It vowed that all those responsible will be brought to justice. So what to take? Yes,
the other time before we went, on break, I said he needs to come out and, talk to the people. What I meant in that aspect was to let the people, the immigrants, knows their values. For, coming into their country, be it for a permanent resident or as a visiting resident, let the people know, like it claimed in that broadcast, I love it, that, whatever that has been displayed do not represent the government of the, of the Britain. But the thing is, beyond that, let there be a strong assertion of, of you as the new administrator that come, relating it to what has transpired 13 years ago. Come, my administration is going to focus more on an equal, treatment for the native people and the immigrant. Let the immigrant feel their importance. Let them know, okay, they have value for that contribution in growing the economy of the nation. He has spoken well, fantastically, said. But the thing is, according to my own view, that might, reduce the tension of the agitators. That's that opinion. But away from that, he has, affirmed holistically that the offenders will be apprehended and will be brought, for justice.
Yes, a lot of people have actually been apprehended, and if you see the video that was played earlier on just before his own, you'll see that yes, that's it now. The police are actually going after majority of those that were responsible, those that participated in that violence. They didn't just call it protest. He said violence. So they are going after them. Now let's take a look at the role social media play in shaping or amplifying messages of protesters. It all started on the social media. That of Kenya started on social media. That of Nigeria also started on social media. So briefly, talk about the role social media play in all of this, briefly.
Yes, I would say in journalism, when we were taught that meaning resides in man and not in words, although, holistically, the social media has played a negative, role in, enhancing the sources of all these, protests, of all these agitations, but away from that, whatever information you perceive, I think to your own personal, good, you need to perceive it, sieve it, digest it to inform your decision. The fact that I, stumble on a piece of information on X or whatever, that, okay, on social media as it well, that, oh, fine, the protest is going to be directed to this, then it's not done on me to sit down at my own, closet.
So are you for or against that the social media now should be well regulated?
Yeah, definitely. It should, because of the, the negative impact it's navigating on how people is becoming alarming.
Okay, thank you so much. The negative impact, Honorable MAYAMI says is becoming alarming, and hence the social media should be regulated. And that brings us to the end of today's or this week's edition of International Desk. Honorable MAYAMI, we thank you for coming.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here.
And don't forget to join us same time next week. I remain Mojisola Shulaja. Goodbye.